We're all set and ready to go for another afternoon on the LPGA Tour of Korea. This is the second round of the Sangsangin Korea Economic TV Open on a sunny Friday evening at the Lakewood Country Club. 108 players in the field that will do battle across this 18-hole, 6,041-meter course as we debut a brand new tournament for this wonderful tour. Imi Jung was our leader by day's end yesterday. She remains as such as the queue to begin the back nine stretches to about 16 people. There is, of course, a line, people ready to go. So-Yeon Jung, however, does get the green light with her group. She is even today at 4 under, 6 back, sends that drive into the fairway, and we skip across to witness our first birdie of the afternoon. There have been a litany of them. That is Park Ju-young, who finds her third of the round. She goes to 6 under. That is a tie for 5th position. She is the next to play by her own standards. A little bit quiet yesterday, only a 68, but she was able to play steady, which was certainly the most important thing for her. Only the one bogey on the round that came at the par 3 16th. Got herself in a bit of trouble with an approach shot that got buried by about 90%. Couldn't recover in time for her par. She did not take as long today to put a square up on that scorecard. She found it at 6, birdies at 1 and 3. For Im Genie, she is exactly even. The midway mark of her round, birdie 7, bogey at the last. A little bit too much shape on that shot as that rolls from right to left across the fairway, skids through the rough, and comes up in the sand trap. As we begin the round today, we will keep a close eye, of course, at the top, but also the middle. And by middle, we, of course, mean the expected cut line, which is currently at +2. Anything higher than that would not be enough to qualify for the weekend's rounds. And to get you caught up on what has transpired so far today, let's go through the front 9 highlights for Imi Jung. Of course, 7 under was the score she finished yesterday with, and clearly showing that the wedge game was working. Along the approach to about 4 feet, and while she had a couple of players begin before her, she would be able to quite quickly recapture that lead. Pars on 2 and 3, this approach on 4. It's been an up and down year for Imi Jung, we know that. She had to withdraw from the Korea Women's Open back in June with ankle pain when she was looking to still rehab some injuries. She was in a pretty violent accident last season, and she's just been trying to get her body right as much as her golf game. And after withdrawing from that event in June, she took the month off to try and continue to rehab those wrist and ankle injuries. She came back in August for the Jeju Samdasu Masters, and finished 4th at the Tabo House D Open earlier this month. And she is really in this fantastic run of form. Of course, the bogey that we saw at 6, but would get that stroke right back on the 7th, which we will see next. And one of the secrets to her success thus far has been her play around the green, chipping, pitching. The wedges have been dialed. The putter to match that little roller downhill. And then her final hole before the turn. Sharing that leads, but not for much longer. The approach play has been breathtaking. We're just continuing to compile evidence to prove that point. And we'll be officially out with the 33 with that birdie putt. The first to see 10 under par for this event. And while the sun is out, it is admittedly a little bit cooler across the course today. I think EA1 and the jackets proved as much, only 14 degrees. The wind holding steady at 3.2 meters per second. And that is coming out of the northwest. Team Genie gets herself situated in that first pot bunker off the fairway. Play the wood course on the way out. Finish the next 9 holes on the lake course. The topsy-turvy green with lots of different changes in elevation. The pin placement today at the back left, that is a decent little effort to get up and onto the green. Between the flag and the leaves being gusted across the green, we can tell that there was a lot of wind to contend with for EA1, who will stop up in the fringe. Slightly misaligned, and now we find even more trouble. Honestly, a bit surprised she's not asking for any relief here. That's right on a little concrete wall that separates fairway from cart path, or rough from cart path, but despite having absolutely no margin for error, she's able to strike it beautifully and just gaze down to make sure that she didn't scrape up her club too bad. Much more precise here. One certainly would trade locations. It's a interesting path to get there, but ENG showing off some nice wedge play of her own to try and keep pace with Amy Jung. Sangsangin at 5 under par through 27 holes. One of many who went 68 yesterday, but only 1 under. A frustrating front 9. Starts the wood course right down the fairway. E1 able to play her up, trade off for that putter. Kim Sun 7. With how well some of the other rookies have played this season, she has gone quietly under the radar, but still in a very formidable 4th position, trailing Peng Xin after her win last week by nearly 500 points, but it's been a fantastic breakout season for her as well. Now Soyeon Jung just seeing that move right at the end and keeping her out of the hole. Saves her par up and down. And announcing her arrival on our airwaves today with a putt to 5 inches or so away from the pin. And Sangsangin, her approach at 10. And a nice little roll and a push from the wind. 4 feet and a birdie should be quite straightforward for a nice effort. Young rolls it in the rest of the way. Not the ideal tee shot, and it ends up leading to her missing out on a birdie.
Okay.
the same level of accuracy or depth as Sangsangin, as she'll have a long way back. To approach Kim In-sun 7. Just roll that through the fringe and be set up above the pin. Ginny on the tee at 11, and again, can't put that between the borders of the rough. She avoids sand this time, but complicating the situation a touch further. This is group 31 waiting to be released at the tee. Kim In-biol, Chung Soo-gi, and Ma So-young. It's 8 under, 4 under, and 1 under respectively for the tournament, with 2 of the 3 players over par through 9. Kim Soo-ji, Che Ga-bin, Chi Han-sol, they await in group 33. And in our featured and final trio, Lee Mi-jung, of course, with Hung Yoo-min and Park Yeol. Some other notable names from earlier in the day while we wait. Park Young-kyung with a 5 under performance through 17 holes. They're all the way up in a tie for 5th position, depending on what she's able to do on 18. Jana back for another round this week. She is +4 today, +8 for the tournament. Finally able to commence. Kim In-biol will begin the back 9, just 2 off the pace. Outright third, Che Ga-bin, 1 back, Lee Mi-jung, the leader. Still some time to wait before we see her get going, but lots happening on 10, 11, and 12 with our projected cut line currently at +2 in this second round of the Sangsangin Hangyang TV Open. We'll be back to Lakewood very shortly. it is just past, or just before, rather, 2:30 p.m. local time here at Lakewood Country Club. We are easing some of the gridlock, and more and more players out on their back nine. Zimgini has seen her fair share bumps in the road with her driver, and we can conflate that as well by adding in her approach game. She's just not finding much in regulation. It is windy and it's a bit on the cooler side today, despite the blue skies above the course. It's also October the 20th, so shouldn't be too surprised to see a few more parkas being donned than we've seen in weeks gone by. This approach with the wind at her back, she's going to get a little bit of a push. Still though, 7 or 8 meters shy of the pin. Sundown able to tap in and seal the deal on a nice birdie. Just her second of the round and her first since the 4th hole. That takes her up to a tie for 5th position as well, with Chung Ji-min 2, Park Ju-young, and Park Young-young. Once at the leaderboard, caddy and player alike. As the next group tries to get the muscles fired up again after their brief delay. Now Imjini. Unfortunately, it's about what she could have expected, with a little bit of a detour, let's say, across the hole. Kim Min-byun, no such trouble. Great drive, leaving her with only 121 meters and a 9-iron. Doesn't try to play too courageous towards the back left side of the green. Poised for her birdie. Downhill right to left break. Too much of that break, however. That won't cut it. It's only 110 to go. Over the water, right at the pin on 18 for Park Young-young. One last birdie for a round of 66 and a share of 4th position. Won't be run of the mill, but we won't count her out from it either. worth the delay, as she is able to sneak that inside of just a couple of feet, and we'll be adding her name to the ever-growing birdie column at 10. Che Gabin, start of the day after a round of 66, was able to pick up 3 additional strokes on the front 9. She begins the lake course now. Run that all the way down the right edge of the fairway and stay nicely in play. To go, Kim Soo-ji. Lofted drive, also headed towards the outer edge of the fairway, and will also find it without much drama. She has been consistently one of the best the past few seasons, the past few weeks as well. Sungoon, 91 meters, a chance to try and make it 2 birdies from 2, but not the same level of control. Leaves herself with the 3-footer for par. A little bit of a headwind. Little right to left on the tee as well, helping Eugene be nice and close. Here's Pak Bokiyam on 11. She's gonna get a push. Her 3rd birdie of the day brings her back to even at 5 under par. Galen's tee shot hits the back left of the green. So well. Set up an awfully short birdie putt. She's let it slip. Jeannie with a 7-iron, her tee shot at 12. Suji on the fence with her caddy, confirming the yardage, checking out the wind, which is the club for us. .26 will often bring 9-iron into question, especially a slightly uphill lie and a back pin location. She might have been needing to sacrifice a bit of control to go for the extra yardage and goes with the more conservative option. Gets her late break, but not quite in time. That'll be a par. Park Young for a round of 66. She stands up a little early. Quite there. So not quite the dazzling end to the round, but take nothing away from her performance today. Bogeyed the first and didn't look back from there. Moves herself up into a tie for 5th as the final groups today get set to begin to apply some pressure. Che Gabin with the tailwind. Can't keep that on the green. This is Kim Min Byul's turn. Disappears down the hill. Fairly wide bit of fairway. I don't think there's much doubt that that was able to avoid the taller grass. Kim Min Sun 7. Left to right. Wonderfully on line. She has a birdie. And she heads to a tie for 5th. Back-to-back bogeys to end the front 9, but used her brief time off to make sure she was able to refocus. Ginny could use that after a dramatic 11th hole. Chance to get back into the birdie column, but couldn't keep a lid on the putts. It will be a par on the par 3. Overcooked and not shaped quite well enough. Skips once from the fairway into the sand. And now this downhill effort from Jing. So Jung, excuse me. That is birdie number 2, alas, for her. So So the leader off into the sand. Let's see what Hung Yumin can do. She hasn't necessarily been the most precise with driver this season, but my goodness, can she hit it long. Avoids the hazard. Nice drive. Here's the A1. Gonna go downhill at the end. Pick up some speed. The line needed to be more than just a little precise. The good news is that we still have lots of hours in the day and that all the groups are away. Amy Jung, though, in some trouble as she sends her drive at 10 into the sand. Hung Yumin with a nice tee shot as she tries to close the gap and move back towards the podium. More from Lakewood just around the corner. Jagabin with a great start to her back nine. That is her third birdie in the last 4 holes as well. She's on a wonderful little run of form here. Kim Min-byul from off the fairway to much further distance out than she would have been striving for. This is who we are arguably the most interested in seeing, just by virtue of the delay and how much, if at all, it was able to affect Imi Jung. Playing 7-iron out of the sand. Evidently, doesn't matter where the second or third shot is taken from, the approach game remains unrattled. Us to Hung Yumin. Here you see the significant right to left winds. Wasn't much of a headwind, so can't quite say that's the reason for how shallow the approach was, but it certainly affected the ball flight. And she buries herself in the sand as she takes a glance at the wind direction with a pinch of grass. Begins to walk towards the green. Jagabin is now a co-leader. Quietly going about her business with much success. Hung Yumin already with 1 bogey. Hasn't needed to make a bunker save yet. In this tournament, and has left herself with a gargantuan task. genuinely is one of the best sand save artists, if you will, on the LPGA Tour of Korea. 58% of the time. That is the third best clip on this tour. Genie right at the pin and rolls calmly just beyond it. Gill, she is over par for the day thus far, and I'm thinking she's going to be able to improve upon that, at least on 10. Gill, her 3 under is one of the best scores to this point in the round. Certainly of those still out on course. To try and keep flexing on that technique stat, but short and left. Jung has been caught. The last time that happened, she almost instantaneously took it back. The lead, that is. Good weight, but slightly left. Just averaging 1.6 putts with every green in regulation. That also helps with their strokes gained around the green. She is 6. She has the best strokes gained, 5.92 of any of the 107 players in the hunt for this title. Kim Soo-ji sticks it close. Yell to save a par. Uphill with a bit of break. Nice reads. Great putt. Avoids dropping down, stays at +1. That brings us to number 11. Fairly narrow looking from the teeing ground, but of course it widens up fairly quick. 3 individual bunkers dotted across the fairway and just before the green. Very uphill. You of course have the water on the left, tree line on the right. It's a green that is 43 yards long and 31 yards wide. The pin today is all the way to the back right, making an uphill hole with distance being the key to the success algorithm, being all the more important.
저희 플레이하겠습니다. 앞에 이동 좀 해주세요.
She couldn't get it done on hole 1 of the back 9. The reasons why was an errant drive. Absolutely not the case with this one. Certainly affected by the wind once again, and narrowly clearing the water. Maybe a sigh and a smile of relief for Kim Min-byul. Last of the group, you mean? Forgot for a second that she was marching downhill after that tee shot. Excellent technique on the recovery. And that just has the break. A glancing effort at the very end. It'll be a pickup for Ji Han-sol. It's a nice one too to move her back to even par for the day. Chigabin to take the lead outright, getting a late push, could have used it going uphill. Just took a bit too much speed off it, trying to navigate the conditions. Settle for a par and will stay as a co-leader. Kim Soo-ji goes to 7 under. Playing an approach to set it up.
맞아?
108 나와.
108이야?
찍어서는 105.
105?
응. 109. 근데 앞에 넘어가는 거는 크게 오신 것밖에 없어서.
Pacquiao had avoided
응, 뒷바라보면 되고.
moving to +2, but with the most recent update of the leaderboard, she's the only to hang a black number inside of the top 30.
그러니까 지금은 그렇게 많이 많이 타야 단클럽이야. 다 치운다. 다 치운다. 술은 조금 타니까 카메라 감독님 정도만.
It's 104 on the nose. Backspin helps. Closer to precise. Little sarcastic roll of the eyes as that comes up just a tad short. Neat little vantage point to show you the rapid changes in elevation on this hole. Lee Jung, to the surprise of none, plays yet another wonderful approach. That much of a tailwind, you can't ask for a heck of a lot more than that. She knew she needed to get to that side of the green, didn't want to have to fight with an extended uphill putt. As we have moved into the 3 o'clock hour, the leaderboard has changed in that there is company at the top. Che Gabin and Imi Jung at 10 under, 2 clear of Kim Min-byul at 8, Kim Soo-ji up to 7 under once again, and a 3-way tie for 5th, including Park Hyung-young's wonderful second round. This is the Sangsangin Korea Economic TV Open, also known as the Hangyang TV Open. We'll take a TV break and be back with more at Lakewood. return to the course at the rear of the 11th hole. One from Bakiel, who might have thought for more than a few moments that she had enough of a read. The graze at the back edge of the cup, and another par forthcoming. On the par 3, it's becoming a fairly common little landing zone back there. Leaves it a little bit out. Chung. We've seen that there's going to be a late snap. She played it too fine. Similar to Pacquiao in both its proximity to a birdie and also its results being slightly off the mark. Two pars confirmed, and off they go. Sugi 114. Really struggled for greens in regulation. Tied for 32nd this week. Certainly a part of the game to iron out heading into the weekend. And for Jacobine, more break than she was perhaps prepared for.
살짝만 바운스로 넣고
8번 괜찮을 것 같아. 아까 몇 갔죠?
몇 번을?
파5. 파5 가.
52도? 그치. 또 80 같다.
5 진짜
이게 라인만 좋으면 58도는 100%인데 살짝만.
지금 안 볼 때지.
응?
Tight line around the bend on the approach to the green, and the downslope's going to take it all the way off.
떨어지는 데가 다운이래. 들어가는 것도 다운이니까.
Kim Suji being reminded that the birdies the last 20 minutes or so are proving to be tough to come by. Taps in for her par and carries that score on to the next. And as the featured group makes their way to the tee, we'll take a look at it from our aerial perspective. 145 is the distance of this downhill. Short hole 3, bunkers defending the back left side of the green. Of course, the water hazard to the left as well. So, very notable and fairly unique breakpoints. Our pin today, officially 9 yards from the front and 7 yards from the left, essentially in line with the closest bunker to our line of sight.
소리 안 나게 부탁 좀 드리겠습니다.
Seen too many come up completely short, but the wind has definitely changed, and it was fairly intense headwind right at Imijung. playing a very dangerous game. That change in wind direction causing some headaches, but Pacquiao stays dry. Yumin was the final to approach. It's going to be a bevy of interesting second shots here. Coming out of group number 35. Kim Min-biel, meanwhile, the long way back downhill into the wind. Fine margins and not off of it by very much, but certainly enough. Solid, uneventful, but still some great skill displayed on that drive as it's blasted out and into the fairway. Exactly the same as it was at our last break, but that could certainly change with some mishit tee shots at the par 3 12th. That's where we'll head next when we return to Lakewood. say welcome back. Amy Jung, the first to make up the distance to get onto the green at 12. Kim Soo-ji, meanwhile, just west of the cart path, 101. As she prepares her approach here, can just make out the blurred flag if you were to follow the right side of the cart path. Fine line between the tree, skips it off the fringe and carries on a bit too deep. She'll be satisfied in that she knew the line she wanted to take. Had no problem with that aspect of the putt. And Che Gabin. Steady cam, a new rig we have for the week. Quite the addition to our camera platform. Some artistic shots of a artistic course. And that is a shot worthy of such a level of intricacy. Up on the tiptoes to make sure she's as close as she thought she was, and rightfully elated with her second shot. Now Pacquiao from the fringe, a little pitch and roll. Come on now, ball. A few inches shy of her birdie. That'll be yet another par for the column. EA1 on the par 5. Slams to a stop. It's been doing her a solid. You mean from well away. Make any bones about it, she's a tremendous putter. That's the yardage, that's the type of break that can catch even the best off guard. Break for So Yeon Jung to keep her at 5 under as well. There is not much in the way of birdies lately. The wind certainly has influenced that. Yumin does not trip up on that mid-range putt. Pars and stays even. One of just 4 players inside of the top 20 at even or over par. She does have the benefit of a fewer holes, a handful of fewer holes to play. Yumi Jung tries to do the same to stay as a co-leader, and she is still faultless today. 3A1 trip to the top 5. If she can convert on this. Unfortunately not. Hardly any break on that putt whatsoever. It'll be an opportunity that slipped through her fingers. Next up on the back nine, the 4th hole on the lake course. Play towards the southern edge of the property here, bordering the 9th tee as well. Dogleg right, lots of sand. And it's not just the dogleg, but it's a pretty sharp bend. There's the barrel, where we saw Pak Ju-young a little earlier. And lots of beachfront real estate on this hole. 2 in the fairway, 3 around the green. And the pin today, we can find 18 yards off the front if you were to measure from where the fairway transitions to the green, and 8 yards from the right fringe. But it is that tight line between the tree and the cart path to find it today. Starting well with as straight a drive as you could possibly ask for from Imi Zhang. Quiet down just long enough for Kim Min-byul to make her approach. Kim So-ju the long way back. Break, heavily influenced putt. After a great round of 66 yesterday, just the 2 birdies for her, 11 and 2, and a bogey at 9. Trying to get the best possible angle for herself. She also goes straight and goes long as well. She'll have a clear vantage point at the pin. 2 and 2 on the day for her, in that she has 4 birdies at 4 and 8 and bogeys at 6 and 10. She and Seoul requesting a little bit of quiet. This type of putt, with its various complexities, will require all the concentration she can muster. Be her 3rd birdie in the last 4 holes, if she can get it there. Starts at wide right, looks slow. Line was great, the speed unfortunately did not match. He had bogeys at 6 and 8, birdies at 10 and 11, and now, barring a shock miss, it'll be two pars from 2. We carry right along to 16. Pak Ju-young. Outside of the top 10 now, playing on the par 3 and able to eke that through the front. Not expecting a very large swing here whatsoever. But will naturally pick up speed going downhill. Che Gabin can move out right. But alas, she's pushed that effort. Becoming something of a ritual for Kim Soo-ji. Create a seat for herself while she waits. Why not? It's a long walk that they do 5 times a week. Take a load off those legs. I'm sure are very well tuned, but feeling the effects of a long season with only 4 events to go, including this one. Jin sold pars and heads to the next. Scared for Che Gabin as well. Still at 10 under. Was well short. That was a unrelenting headwind, but the wrong club selection as well. She went for the aggressive play. In her mind, that had met the fringe and stopped close for a birdie, but she planned and the golf gods laughed with other ideas. Jung at 104, and with the wind, looking for pitching wedge. That's probably, from at least our last 100 minutes of coverage of round 2, the shot of the day thus far. She had a few of those earlier in the round before we joined the fun at 2 p.m. local time. Another statement approach. Hung Yu-min trying to do the same. Layering up, she's got the snoot on, and she has a 52-degree wedge. It's a little bit right, but certainly playable. Tip of the cap for Kim Min-byul, who's certainly frustrated by the lack of forward momentum as of late. Now on to the 409-yard, 374-meter. Par 4 14th. She'll likely soon have that co-leader tag wiped from the top of her name. Chance to respond and stepping out on the front foot. Lee Jung on 13 is likely about to reach 11 under par. Kim Min-byul slightly frustrated. Still at 3 under for the day, 8 under for the tournament in third through 14 holes. Kim Soo-ji waiting to go on 14. That's 7 under. Park Young-young, Hung Yoo-min, they are tied for 5th. Lee So-mi, she's on 18 now and is up into a tie for 7th with a 2 under round in progress. At the most recent refresh, 65 players projected to make the cut out of the 108 we have in the field this week. More stories to be written when we come back to Lakewood.
있었잖아.
그래, 잘하잖아.
Not the approach Pacquiao had in mind. I think that goes without saying. You can just make out the top third of the ball plunged into the sand trap. Needs to get it up and down in a hurry. Cannot top this. And she plays it as well as she could have hoped. Amy Jung, she does make it official. Birdie number 5 today, and 11 under beside her name. Kim Soo-ji, after her momentary rest, is off and moving again. Here's Hung Yamin trying to move up the hill, pulling it.
오, 나이스.
With that second shot, able to play it nice and aggressively, so me will be thrilled. Pacquiao hangs her head in frustration as she was trying to get up and down. Par and failing to do so. Simple finish, not at the cap, but a march off the green. 15, 374 its distance. Another hole that looks a little bit more narrow from the trees. Not nearly the aggressive dogleg here. This to the left, 230 meters from the tee to the front of the fairway bunker, just before the cart path to the inside. And then it becomes approach time. Pot bunker just before the green, one right parallel to the pin. And that right bunker very much in play with the pin 6 yards from the edge of the fringe in line with the top of that bunker. Here's Jagabin. Plenty to do. Uphill to start, leveling off and fighting the wind. It's always going to be a two-putt scenario. Lisa Mi ends the day with a flawless back nine where she came in with a 31. Great little run to finish off as well. 6 under is her score through 36 holes. Now EA1 on the par 3. Three holes to try and narrow the gap today. That is currently 6 between she and Imi Jung. Decent enough opening shot. Suji not quite the distance to make it all the way. She finishes the day, but not quite as much on a high note. A double bogey and a few more bogeys to bring her outside of the top 50. She is just able to stay inside of the cut line despite a frustrating day. She'll be around for the weekend. Jan Sol has all but clinched that spot despite still being even. 5 under she remains with just 3 to play. Jagabin pulls her look at a bird. So for par is what she was in search of. 5 birdies, 2 bogeys now. She has not found a high degree of consistency in search of these birdies today. frustrated nod. One bogey on the par 3 is a bit of a shocker. Drops her 7 back now. Akiel, the big rip. Caroms and stops short. Stuck on the fringe. About a 6-footer. Very makeable birdie will come up next. And we go to 14 with Imi Jung and her 4-iron. It's a lot of extra clubs she tried to reach. It's a little bit short. It stays in the fairway. A little pitch and roll. That will be next. She is on. That is an objective fact. The subjective fact is, the subjective opinion is not one of her better approaches on the wrong side of the green. Biel couldn't quite get that to dig in. We'll head all the way over towards the back left fringe. Lost her peak control by sending that tee shot to the rough.
쉴게요.
네, 플레이하겠습니다.
You see the target zone in the fairway. Let's see if Jian Sol can find it with her driver.
자,
들어가자.
들어갔다.
And she lands and stays. Okay. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Back to the par 3, Sungun. And she goes awfully close to taking on the keys to that BMW behind her. She'll settle for a birdie as consolation. Excuse me, we can't go 2 from 2 off the tee. And now Lee Jung-min, we go to 18. She just needs a par to make the cut. She wanted a birdie, of course. No birdies to be found on the back nine. The only one today coming late in the front. She's absolutely dialed. She is one of the few within grasp of the leader. 7.9 meters for a birdie. Starts above the hole, needs to dip back down. Never does, unfortunately. So she settles for her par. Here she comes the long way back and just about salvaged that birdie after all. The rookies can certainly get it done with that flat stick. Trying to avoid going to +2, but so much snap. Crazy break. Frustrating day. That's another speed bump. So that's 4 bogeys now, +3. She has gone all the way down to a tie for 16th position. Chancel to 18 from the target zone. Jung tried to be a little bit bold and brash. Reach came up short, but gets a nice up and down for a par. Suji marches along, and from nearly a hazard, staying right but improving the lie. Navigating the wind and the rough expertly, reminiscent of some play on Jeju from ENG.
바람 뭐라고?
플라이트 아빠랑 가라.
Yell in full free fall mode. 4 holes to make it right. She's been driving really well. It's definitely something that's not been an issue. T14, the accuracy, and pushes that to the limit, but gets another. Towards the rocks again, and that's going to be anything but the straightforward recovery shot. Suji, 93 double digits this approach on the par 5. Gets that just past pin high. Chance to do something special with that. Anytime there's a smile with the frustration, you know that she recognized she might have been playing with house money a little bit. I wasn't expecting to be that close, but since I got so close, I'm frustrated that it didn't go. She'll settle for a par. Che Gabin trying to set up a bird. Usually we use the shadow of the flag to indicate fairly close proximity, but the day is growing longer. 4:12 now here at Lakewood. And now Chien saw the last to approach out of the group. That's the textbook example of how to use the backspin of a wedge in your favor. And she knew that wasn't going to come back around. Buckhill 244. Nice second shot.
안쪽만 들어가면 돼.
.220 for Mimi Jung. She was in the rough and recovers to the fairway. Waits, no time to spare. Sodaki Minbyul and her 7-iron on 16. Maybe she would exchange that club for an 8 if she could have a go around. 6, excuse me, if she could have a go around. Souls on some kind of run here on the back 9 after going out with a 38. She's picked up 3 on the back and is tied for 4th now with still a couple to go. Pak Ju-young, she goes right over and masters the balance of attacking. Conservative play in that she wasn't really bringing the water too much into risk. Chega being pars 15. Jimin 2. 4 under on 18, and she also has a great attack. That is guaranteed to be a birdie. Coming off the green in a blink.
가는 것도 어쩔 수 없어.
And that is well away from where Hung Min needed and wanted to be. And little runner pitched up by Kim Min Biel after being short. Does a full lap around the cup, but it does not drop. And Imi Jung. Yes, so good. Wonderful week. Continues its polish, getting shinier and shinier the more holes she works through. Yo, that stat is as telling as we could possibly find. Only 36% greens in regulation today. Basically, she's on one, misses the next two, and repeat. Finally ready to go. She's going to be on. She had a wide berth. So it's a step in the right direction, but going to need some magic in that putter to have it improve. That score that has been dropping quite rapidly. Chegabin, this is 16. Just past the pin high, right of target. Coming off even more down to 12 degrees. We are nearing single digits late in this Friday afternoon. Dr. Young with a tap. She is absolutely perplexed how that has stopped half a revolution short. That ends the day outside of the top 10. 37 on the way in. 4 under par. Jimin 2, bogey birdie at the end. He had 5 of those birdies in this Friday round. Well, the lead is now improved to 2 for Imi Jung, who is on hole number 15. Chegabin has bogeyed and started to cool off towards the end of her round. Kim Min Biel, she is still 3 back through the final par 3 onto 17. And it's a very interesting score, isn't it? 6 under par with the likes of Lee So-mi, who posted consecutive rounds of 69. Park Hyung-kyung's big bounce back up 37 spots today. And Jung Yoon-ji, who's up 40, only bested by An Ji-hyun up 52 spots for a tie for 21st. Sun's starting to get low in the sky. We have just under 40 minutes still to go in this second round of the Sangsangin Hangyang TV Open from the Lakewood Country Club. Welcome back. This is 15. It was always going to be 2 for Hung Yumin, who was on the polar opposite side of that putting surface. Back to the par 5, Pacquiao, a long-awaited birdie. And the wait will be at least 1 hole longer. Don't have to wonder much about birdies with approaches like that, do we? Divot just 1 pace maybe away from the pin. That's where the putt stops as well. does get there in 2. So the birdie gets herself back under par. Sole possession of 4th at 7 under. Jung will be disappointed by a stagnant scoreline after doing really well to get nice and close. Our lead, however, will stay at 3 with 2 holes remaining. Young has her second birdie of the day. Comes at the long par 5. Jayabin, who's 2 back, has to have this par. White's dropping again could end up being what we think back on, just depending on how tomorrow evolves. And So-Yeon Jung, if it had any chance, ball marker of her mate pushed it clear. That was for a par. Nice little roller. Ends the day with a birdie. Only 1 under. For the day, 5 under for the round, and just inside of the top 10. More on 18. ENG with a nice birdie. 4 under is where she finishes. That is 7 back at the end of 2 rounds of competition. Kim Min Bial on on 17. Still out right third, 3 back. Skies that. Sends it long and onto the hill behind the green. Is a 6-iron. Fresh off the par 5, she'll play the short hole, go back to the par 5, and end on a par 4. Rolling off the right side of the fairway into the rough. Back, much to the delight of the gallery. Doesn't matter if she's approaching from the fairway or if she's teeing off on the par 3. This has been her calling card all week thus far. I mean, that's perfect. Use that little stretch of fairway to your advantage. Giving her a little bit of resistance. Kim Min-byul is able to get back onto the green. Trying to follow the same path at the fairway, but not enough power to muscle it through, unfortunately, for Baekhyul. For Hung Min, the struggles, especially those two going shot for shot in the rookie race. Two strokes separating the top two for now. Kim Min-byul in some trouble on 17. Hung Min on the par 3 16th. EA1, day of 71, takes her into the top 10, tied for 9th. Jung Ji-min 2 under 70, same score. And a trio of players who are stuck at 1 under on this Friday round with just a few more shots remaining to try and boost that further. See the gallery making their way down, continuing to follow the action close, just as we will do to the end here on this fantastic Friday evening. The 2023 and inaugural Sangsangin Hanggang TV Open. Unfortunately, the frustrations for Pacquiao continue to mount. A shot where she wouldn't have normally felt like she had any business birdieing. She still comes painstakingly close. Only one birdie all day for her at 7 on the par 5. The good news is that she'll have the par 5 next. That's where we find Chegabin at the minute. Gonna get started down the downhill. Down the hill, excuse me. Line just not quite there. Yumin's gonna have to come up with another salvation effort. Go to 18, Bakbogyam. Right at the pin. Stops it about 5 feet short. Lovely. Yumin trying to save a par, prevent a bogey, but she's just off the mark. So she drops into a tie for 4th now with Isomi, Pak Young-young, Chi Han-sol, and Kim Soo-ji. Brings her back to even for the day. Chegabin, her second shot, a little bit bold, is nestled into the tall grass. Couldn't keep that down and runs that up the hill. Kim Min-sun 7, her 3rd at the last. Using every blade of grass available, Kim Soo-ji. So I'm going to about 4 feet. Mimi Jung adds another to her growing collection. There's still going to be 36 holes of golf to be played, but 3 shots is her advantage at the moment and isn't really showing signs of slowing down. Pak Bo-gyeom finishes the day nicely, back-to-back 17 and 18. 6 under is her 36-hole score. Trick will be getting this down in a hurry. Just before the fringe would likely be ideal. She plays the fringe and kicks it slightly left. So if she misses this, Amy Jung's advantage goes to 4 strokes. Zone 7 makes it 3 pars in a row to end the day tied for 10th at 5 under. Sangsangin also exits an identical score, excuse me. We thought we might see her go on a bit of a run after that birdie at 10, but it's a relatively uneventful back 9 for her. Kim Min-bill teeing off on 18. Good start right down the fairway. And 17's getting extra juicy with the battle between Imi Jung and Che Gabin. Kim Min-bill got a little bit of help from Hung Yoo-min and is off to a good start on her 18th. Another shot requiring some finesse. Just carried a bit too far. The advantage very much in her favor, plays a good approach. 17. Her propensity for not making bogeys a consecutive occurrence has helped her in spades this season and just in recent memory, the past few weeks. Buckyhill 270, her second, just missing the sand trap. Be a great angle with which to attack next. Broke so quick. She was hopeful, but not confident that she would be missing there. Speaking of missing, Amy Jung, tee shot to the bunker. Hybrid to escape, 268. Nice little shot shape. Luckily she wasn't buried in it, she was just sat up and strikes the ball from the sand well. She missed long, was up in the rough, and cannot get up and down for a par. Doesn't change her position on the leaderboard, but it does change the fact that the deficit between she and Amy Jung is now 4. Claiming a few more victims. Kim Soo-ji trying to avoid being one of them. Does so with her par. Given something of a lifeline by Hung Yoo-min. Fails to capitalize. All of her birdies, coming in the first 6 holes where she had 4 of them. She'll be in the featured group tomorrow. Further back than she'd like to be. This will be pars for a mid-tournament score of 2 under with a 75 today. After a brilliant 67 and a second place finish at the end of the day yesterday. approach time for Pacquiao. There's no doubt that pin placement is tricky with the downslope on the other side of the flag, but don't know if you're not feeling particularly confident in your wedges, if pin seeking is the best approach in the figurative and literal sense. Jung didn't get the memo either. She joins Pacquiao back there. We know where everyone will be. Playing their approach at the back of 17. We can sneak ahead to 18 in the time being. Jay Gabin will tee off in golden hour.
왼쪽으로 가더라도 괜찮아.
Birdie here for Kim Soo-ji would take her to a tie for third. Struggled a bit with driver accuracy today. 62% in regulation, but that's a good one. Now 5 p.m. local time, down to 11 degrees Celsius with the wind having cooled down slightly. So starts the hole tied for 10th. She has as well the rub of the green. The second to last group to tee off there on 18, and away they go. Let's go back to 17. Seen in this area. The recovery will take. First from Pacquiao to about 6 feet. Imi Jung goes a bit closer, not much. I mean, just with some less landscaping to ensure her line and her path is exactly the way she wants it. Needs to start this well to the fringe. Our right, her left. And hope it can hang on long enough before dropping back down. Still a little bit misaligned. But still an excellent putt. Taps in and has her par. Suji, it's 119. A little left to right wind. It's definitely a bit calmer down at the green. It's surrounded by the hill and the bleachers. And 117 for Chegabin. And she was worried, and she ought to have been. Not a lot of ripples, which means maybe, just maybe it stayed dry, but that's the question she's trying to sort out right now as well. Better news for Amy Jung without having to finish her hole yet. Same cannot be said for Bakiel. That's going to be another bogey. +4 is where she's seemingly destined for. And a cautionary tail just served to Jihan Sol. Make sure she has enough to get over the green. Loses the follow-through hands. Sacrifices a bit of accuracy, but is able to get up onto the green. Chegabin hoping that her partner saw that ball stay dry. Amy Jung with a run-of-the-mill par. Only the one bogey still on the round at the par 3 6th. Chegabin likely about to drop another, which means it's becoming awfully close to a 5-stroke advantage. And tied for 20th now, Pacquiao. She was second to start the day. There's 5 bogeys. And in the shadows now, everyone just trying to stay warm as much as anything. And we have officially arrived at our final hole of the afternoon. 321 meters. Play back towards the southeast corner of the facility. There's the clubhouse, of course, perched in the water. 2 water fountains. And 1 sand trap. Back right. Wide fairway, it's slightly downhill from the teeing ground. The green is anything but flat. It rolls and rocks and undulates. Our pin today, as we've seen a few times, as we're about to be shown again, located the back left section.
다른 거 없어.
Jay Gabin will indeed be needing to take a drop.
여기서 84거든.
84.
52도.
만 쳐도 되잖아.
끝까지 84 맞죠?
One final practice swing, and now time to execute. Has to be close to keep this at just a bogey. And she's going to get a bit of help with the backspin, but if she hasn't saved her best shot for last, she's just done Kim Biel a huge favor and done herself quite the disservice. She could go all the way back down to even. Opens the door slightly for Hung Yu-min, who with a birdie could also go to 7 under.
앞에 이동 좀 멈춰주세요.
Jung with a promising opening drive as she kicks back towards the middle. Driving today has missed 5 of the 10 previous fairways. On par 4s. She hasn't missed on par 5. Go 6 for 11 by the end of the day. Struggled with them in general over the tournament thus far. Only 63%. That is 18 points down from the tournament average thus far at 81. This is Jian Sol's last shot at a birdie today. Just about has it all the way there. She smiles, and she should smile. Left a few birdies off the board, but a decent day, all things considered. 67 yesterday, of course, is going to be tough to touch today. He's slightly disappointed with even, but inside of the top 10 nevertheless.
Okay.
Gill is the last to drive. So Young also shot a 76 today. Shin Eugene and Pak Ji Young as well. Lee Jung-min was 5 over, just made the cut as one of the 64 players. Kim Soo-ji, birdie, gives her 1 under for the round. Par also keeps her at even. There's that left to right break, but starts a bit too early, and we'll have that as a recovery par next. Could be a tournament-defining putt for Che Gabin after finding the water. Trying to see that this is just one drop stroke, but it's off right, and she is going to double bogey the last. It was a very promising day, but from the 14th, +4. Bitterly disappointing.
Okay.
Suji, it is a par, it is a round of 72. It is a tie for third. Green is vacated. Final approach, final putts. And we'll cut you loose.
바람이 불 때는 확실하게 들어오는데 지금도 근데 날도 좀 차가지고
Beautiful pan across. See the autumn leaves very much beginning to steal the show.
빨간 말뚝 있는 데만 봐도 아까 앞에 보면 8m였어.
12 birdies here at 18 today. A long way back. It's been the story of her day. Cannot fully describe the importance, or at least the benefit of Imi Jung birdieing one final time today. She actually might not have too many quarrels with the fact that that stopped on the fringe. It gives her the option for pitching wedge if she likes it. And she's certainly gone to it frequently today. Almost to a nice stop. She is the closest approach. And all the putts will be what are next.
이거 읽고 가.
Final preparations for a long putt. Just about ensure. It'll be the end of the very long and very significant downhill roll for Pacquiao. Amy Jung, of course, setting up a shot that would see her 5 clear after 36 holes. Pacquiao would love to be that close to give her the same opportunity. It's officially a chance at a birdie, but it's more importantly a setup shot. Long way back up the hill. Glances in towards the end. Just has to find a little bit of remaining metal. Should love to hear the sound of a golf ball dropping into a metal cup. Jung does secure final part today. And look at that scorecard. Out with a 33, in with a 34. That is a 67. Just the one bogey on the day. mean, with a much different perspective here, as she is above the hole. This is for a birdie. Downhill, speed's not going to be the problem. Not quite enough to the inside left to start the putt. Settles for a par. An even round today, 72, 35, and 37. Combines to see her tied for third, but likely destined for the third to last group to tee off tomorrow. She's not in danger of missing the cut by any means, but for the confidence and self-belief, has to see this drop to avoid a 77th stroke today. Buckyall, nope, she's going to need it. Just went ice cold on this back nine. Only one birdie today at 7. Finishes with 6 bogeys on the round. 66 to open the tournament, 77 for round 2. And that is a tie for 27th position. You can put it on a postcard as the sun illuminates the sides of the mountains in the background, and some calm has fallen across the course. We are through 36 holes of this tournament. Let's revisit some of the best moments. Seems fitting that we start on number 1. We'll start with Kim Min-biao. Just about an eagle to kickstart the day in the best kind of way, but she would say still an opportunity here. Slide in that birdie to immediately put some pressure on the leader, but the pressure has been rolling off Amy Jung's back. Following this up with another great approach, it would become a 3-way tie at the top. She'd move to 7 under with this birdie. On to 4, and that is where Amy Jung would get her party started. Just resume it after birding the first. Should have 2 more still on the front 9. We, however, have something to show you on the par 3. Centimeters and mere centimeters away from an ace. There were lots of smiles in the early stages of the round. They started to dissipate towards the end. We'll see that shortly. Do this on 7, a 224-meter second shot from the fairway, over the water, through the fringe, and just past pin high. Could have been eagle, grazed the outside and stays out, but a birdie picked up and the lead taken.